Southern Vangard Radio. This is DJ John Doe, and to the left of me is my man.
Welcome back.
Cappuccino me.
Been away for a while. Welcome back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. Homie, it's
oh, man.
This is nice right here.
Oh, wow.
Man.
We're back. Oh, to our fellow loyal listeners, we apologize, man. Last week was just a fucking mess.
Hey, snow and ice in Atlanta.
Snow and ice and the flu. And
fuck shit up every time.
Severely ill family members.
Man.
It has been quite, the past 7, 8, 9, 10 days been nuts.
It's been an experience.
So, anywho, I know last week we said we were going to drop on Thursday, actually drop the mix and the interview on Thursday. That shit just didn't happen.
And we have decided to never do that again.
We're never going to do that again.
Because we realized that in the role that we play in this podcast shit, it's sort of like a pusher to a junkie relationship that we have with you guys. And we didn't come through with the product. We just hope that you didn't go to our competitors and cop your fix from them.
Right.
But in the words of the immortal Raekwon, we still got the 2 for $5 ravioli bags over here. Niggas got garbage down the way. So don't even fuck with that. You need to come fuck with us. This is the guard.
I like that.
Southern Vanguard, man.
I'm with that.
2 for $5. You know what I'm saying? Twice a week.
Twice a week, Meeks. Twice a week, though. That's how it rolls.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man. Well, Meeks, how was your weekend? You're back on that volleyball shit, I heard.
Yeah, I'm on volleyball shit on steroids right now.
You are getting it.
Dude, fucked around and got on a travel team.
Oh, God, man, that will fuck your life up.
Tennessee 2 weekends in a row. I think I got a almost 3-week break before I'm back in Nashville.
Oh, word?
Yeah, I'm going back. Actually, Franklin.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's where my family's at.
Yeah, and then, I think we got 2 trips to Florida. I think I got one more trip to Tennessee after that, and a big one to Minneapolis, Minnesota that
word.
I haven't figured out the logistics on that yet.
Now, when is that in Minneapolis? Like, when's the joint in Minneapolis?
April.
Oh, it'll be nice.
Yeah, so
it's not like now.
No.
Oh, April should be beautiful.
Yeah, well, I mean,
maybe not beautiful.
It'll probably be tolerable.
Right.
But yeah, I got to get ready for that. But the team she's on is nice. Jayla's kind of fitting into her role. She's playing up. So she's on a 16-year-old team.
Oh, so is that like varsity? Or consider that or not really? Different volleyball.
Nah, these girls, you would see girls of this caliber playing college level volleyball.
Oh, word.
Yeah, high school volleyball is not where it's at. They don't even recruit at the high school level.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you have to play club volleyball if you want to continue into
you're in some
college
fancy shit right now.
I'm in some it's some serious shit, man. We got scholarships on the line. I'm talking about it was Scouts, Clemson, Southern Illinois, Virginia Tech. They out there looking at these girls, you know what I'm saying? And it was money in the house. It was money in the convention center this weekend. So
Dad needs a scholarship.
I need that bad than a motherfucker right now. I ain't gonna even play with you.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna put it out there. I don't give a fuck. It's been a couple of weeks. My kids can't go to college without aid.
Right.
I'm talking about full ride type shit.
Right.
I mean, that's just real like that. Yes, I work for a living. I work hard. I go to work every day. I'm working 2 jobs right now.
Yep.
But that shit doesn't equate to a college education.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Fucking expensive.
Hey, man, that shit is no joke. And it's the biggest scam since the compact disc. So I really ain't too pressed on whether they go to fucking college or not, man. I really wish they would come up with the next fucking $1 billion idea or some cryptocurrency shit that we could all eat off of.
You're Your kids need to build a mining farm.
You know what I'm saying?
Big currency
man,
in the
come
crib.
on, man. Come on, man.
I got to connect for that. Actually,
this shit is totally different out here right now.
I know.
And I ain't really tripping on college right now. Y'all can, say I'm a bad parent all you want or whatever. Shit, you pay for my daughters to go to college.
Yeah, no doubt.
How about that?
No doubt.
Anyway,
that's real shit.
Anyway,
all right.
This is a hip hop podcast.
That's all right. It's real life shit.
Yeah, it's
all right.
real
So back
life.
on the volleyball.
Yeah, back
just,
on that.
Just on the Grizzly there.
Yeah,
all
just Grizzly Adams, man. For real, dude.
All right, beautiful. All right.
Yeah, man.
Well, for those of you that have just have tuned into this for the first time because you're a fan of the gentleman that we have on this here interview session tonight,
and we're sure you are a fan.
We're sure you are a fan. If you're not, you
don't even know it.
You're about to be one.
We about to drop some real shit on you right quick.
We're about to go deep.
Yeah.
We're about to go deep. I love these interviews, these types of interviews we're about to do. But anywho, if this is the first time you're listening, or if it's the 8th millionth time you're listening, we need you to follow, like, share, subscribe, all that shit on your favorite platform. And actually, I'm going to issue a challenge, so to speak. Not a challenge, but actually, this is an ultimatum. I need you to go follow on every platform that we're on, even if you're not on that platform. Just go hit follow or like or whatever the hell you need to do, and just keep listening on your other platform. It's cool. Yeah. Just help your boys out over here.
Yeah,
that's all we're asking for.
Just a little help.
That's all we're asking for.
Nobody.
So you can do that on SoundCloud. You can do that on Mixcloud. You can do that on Apple Podcasts.
Yep. Stitcher Radio.
There are a number of platforms you can listen to us on, iOS or Android or on your laptop, computer, wherever you like.
Yep.
We have a number of affiliates that are friends in this little game here that can help us out, right, Meeks?
Yeah, man, if I can remember.
It's been a while.
I am classic rawradio.net here in Atlanta. ATLhiphop.com. You know what that is. Return of the Boom Bap Radio, WRBB-FM.
Yes, sir.
Also in Atlanta, and Soul Public Radio out on the West Coast.
Woo!
Yeah.
It's back in the saddle.
Yeah, we here, man.
All right. So
we the guard.
First off, shout to J57 for making this connect happen.
J50.
If you didn't know, J-Mo Gang is about to drop an EP here like any minute.
J-Mo.
Any minute. Razzie, El Gaunt, and J57 have an EP dropping very soon.
El Knack.
It's gonna be fire. So Jay sent me a note, said, "Hey, I've got a great someone that you should interview. He's a staple of New York hip hop, and I had heard of this gentleman before. I was familiar with his work, and I said, hell yes, let's do this. So without any further ado, the one and the only Photo Rob.
Rob, what's up, man? Welcome to the Vangard. Standing ovation.
No, peace. What's up, Atlanta?
What's
Rob,
up?
how are you, brother?
I'm great, fellas.
Good.
How you doing?
We're doing well.
Man, we're doing
here.
Good. We trying to save some real estate right now. It's been a rough couple of weeks, man.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
So, but
I hear you.
Thank you for joining us, man. You know what's interesting is I thought I'd kick the podcast off like this. So, we do research every week, right, Rob? To prepare for the interview. We don't just, hit record and, this isn't some fly-by-night shit, so to speak.
Not at all.
So we do a little research and get prep topics together. When you type in Photo Rob interview, the first two pictures that come up are, one, Meeks, what's your guess? When you type in Photo Rob, what's the first thing that you think pops up?
Was it what we were talking about before we got on?
No.
Okay, Photo Rob.
I wonder if Rob knows, but Rob, don't spoil this. Don't spoil.
You know what? I don't know.
Okay, the first one that comes up is a photo of Rob Zombie.
Okay,
all right, which is not that. Okay, whatever. Of course, it's going to come up.
Okay, so
the second photo
one is Rob Deerdeck.
No,
Rob and Big.
No, but that's a good one.
Okay,
Black China. And Rob Kardashian.
Hell no. Nah.
You are in esteemed company, my friend.
Hell no. Nah.
Woo! Oh, man. But the nice thing... Go ahead.
Yeah, it used to be that guy from the vampire movies. That actor, Rob, from those vampire movies.
That's Rob Zombie.
Rob Patton. Rob
Patton.
Robert
Patton. Yeah,
Robert Patton.
There you go.
Damn.
Oh man, that's great. So anyway, but you know what the nice thing is, Rob, is actually the first thing that pops up when you type in photo Rob, at least for me, was an interview with you with Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival, which actually was a pretty good interview.
Oh, cool. You know what's funny? Like, I don't know if you guys know this. I'm not really a fly by the seat of my pants guys either, and I did some research on you guys.
Oh,
so what came up first was a Sean Price interview that you guys did. And actually, the picture on that interview is a photo I've taken.
What?
With him and Bernadette?
Yeah, that's a picture I took at the Knitting Factory. At the Knitting Factory series, I did like a backstage project, and that I took that image.
Wow!
No shit. Oh, that's the repost that Duck Down did.
Yeah, and that's the that's what comes up on the YouTube post as well from Duck Down.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Damn, that's ill.
Damn, that's crazy.
So we're connected, and we didn't even know it.
Absolutely,
so, hey,
that's
man,
ill.
We honored, man. Again,
it's an honor. Likewise,
man.
It's an honor to be on the show. I appreciate.
Man, we just keep getting brought up with that man, and man, the thing that stands out with me about that interview and just knowing that you actually took that photo, man, I always come back to the fact that P did not have to talk to us at all.
Right.
He could have blown us off, paused completely, and just been like, man, I ain't never heard of you motherfuckers. I ain't fucking with y'all. He ain't do that. And the rest is history. You know what I'm saying? So we always honored, man. And to know that you took that photo and it's
damn, that's crazy.
It's lined up with us. That makes it even doper. That's dope.
So Rob, do you remember anything specific about that night or about taking that photo? Like, do you remember it or no?
Oh yeah. You know, what's amazing is, I have like very vivid memories of the night because they're, you know, and maybe it is perception because I do return to the photos and go back through them. So that series, the Backstage series project happened because at that time I wanted to be in all the hip hop magazines, and I would go for, send my book in and go for interviews, and they'd be like, nah, we're good. Thanks a lot. Thanks for calling, blah, blah, blah. So it was the MySpace era. So I went directly to the artist, and I started also shooting at shows. And literally at that show, so the guy who was booking all the hip hop the hip hop shows at that time was a guy named Peter Agostin.
Oh yeah, we know Peter. He's a friend. Yes, we actually interviewed him about a year ago.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's a multi-talented guy, just very knowledgeable about music and just smart as shit and cool. And so, like, I had set up at that Duck Down show, and I think I had already done a magazine cover with Sean Price, or it was around that time. The timing I could figure out by looking at the files what came first, but. So I went and I just brought my backdrop into that show, and Peter came down and he's like, well, what are you doing here? And I was like, is this all right? And I'll send you some pictures tomorrow. I sent him some pictures. And then he got to see like, hey, these pictures are good. And then he started inviting me backstage to all the hip hop shows at the Knitting Factory.
Oh.
So it kind of happened by chance. And that really opened doors for me because I started to meet everybody. Like, I'd be backstage and the experience, like, to go back to your question, and forgive me if I ramble because I have a very short attention span. But yeah, you'll see. I'll just be like going off on something. But your question was the vivid memories. I do have vivid memories of that night. I remember Buckshot and 5FT being there, and then I'm like, oh man, where's DJ Evil D? Like, it would be so great to get like a Black Moon shot of all three guys together.
Right.
But I don't think he was there that night. And excuse me. Mm-hmm. And then Tech and Steel were there, and then Tech was like really being playful. Like he's like, all right, I want everyone's chains. He put on everyone's chains, and he was doing some. He was like, he was art directing me to take some shots of him. You know, that whole crew is just real solid, cool people that I've photographed in various, you know, performances, shows,
right.
Projects, album covers. I've done I did the Formula series with Buckshot and Ninth Wonder.
Yeah. What was
so the Formula and the Solution, but from that night, like, I just remember, like, it was cool. You know, it's like when you get that door opens for you and you're all of a sudden hanging around with legends and people whose music that was like the soundtrack of your youth. It's very humbling.
Right.
It's a very humbling experience because, I don't know, even though that you're getting involved in the culture, you don't really expect to, like,
be a part of it.
Talking with these gods and legends of your life, you know?
Right. So was that the night that you kind of got introduced to Duck Down and why you ended up doing the Formula, shoot, or was this prior to that night?
Well, I think I met the Duck Down guys from a friend of mine, Matt Salacuse, gave me a job to do for a magazine called Pound.
Oh, yeah, I remember that magazine.
And, yeah, it was a magazine. I believe it was, I want to say Toronto, but I know it was a Canadian magazine.
Wait, who was your friend? Who was your friend that connected you?
Matt Salacuse.
Where's he from?
He's a great photographer, and he's from New York, and he did like the Nas. He's done some Nas album covers and stuff
really?
like that.
Okay, gotcha.
But he's done tons of stuff.
Okay.
He's got a famous picture of Old Dirty Bastard, and
really?
He's a cool dude, and we were photo assistants together back in the day.
Okay.
So I did a job for Pound, which was a photograph of Noriega, of Nori, and then the second thing was the cover. They liked the work, and then they hired me to do a cover. Cover was supposed to be of Saigon, right when he got out of jail.
Wow, Saigon. I ain't
but
heard that name in a minute.
It didn't happen for whatever reason, and then we did the Sean Price cover. And I went out to Sean's house, and then that's when I met Bernadette and the family.
Oh, okay.
And that's really when I met, like, Noah, Duck Down Noah, and all the guys. And I worked really hard on that shoot. Like, I made lots of setups. I did a great job. I remember I gave some pictures of Sean and his son to him, and I think he appreciated that after the shoot.
Oh, wow. Really? Okay.
Wow.
You know, a lot of people, they do their photo jobs, they leave, they go home. But I was like, let me give him a couple pictures, him and his son. Those, it was
That's
just the ending of the film days, like 2007, when, film was being phased out in terms of, like, it's come back, but, like, digital was really cheaper and more accessible.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That's a great look, Rob. Just taking it a step further and not being that, regular Olin Mills type of motherfucker. You know what I mean? That's dope. I know something that stuck out for me. We drink bourbon here. Drinking some good bourbon right now, actually.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy.
I see that you fuck with Maker's Mark here in the past. How did that work out for you?
The shoot I did with Maker's Mark was to shoot that for Wax Poetics.
Ah, okay. Was it an ad? Was it an ad they were running, or
they ran an ad in Wax Poetics?
Wow.
And I've been shooting for Wax Poetics. Shout out to Andre Torres. And it was cool. I mean, I did a cover of QTip in 2008, and I was a little bit nervous. I got to admit, I was a little nervous because, like, I bought all those albums,
Yeah.
So that's what I did. When he came into the lab,
mm-hmm.
you know, I was like, you know, I bought all your music. I'm a big fan. And then, you know, I just want to give you some props. And then I got to work, and then I just focused on doing a good job for the magazine cover.
Dope.
And Obama wasn't elected yet. So he had, the idea, which was not mine, was to have him wearing an Obama pin, which was pretty cool because it was pretty early.
Okay.
In that Obama was getting a lot of support, but it wasn't like he hadn't made those brilliant speeches yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
He was just starting to get that buzz. Yeah, he was starting to get that buzz, and the buzz was going around that this could possibly be the next guy.
It might, yeah. At that time, people didn't think it could happen, but
yeah,
like, maybe that could happen.
Yeah,
you know, Oprah didn't sign on yet. So
that
was a big deal.
That shit ain't happening, by the way. I'll let you know that right now.
I think it. You know what? I think it could happen.
Rhapsody will win a Grammy before Oprah becomes president. I'm gonna throw that out there at you right now. Ain't nobody falling for that shit.
You know what's crazy is I was doing a shoot for the Formula, and Rhapsody was there. And she said to me, she's like, "Yo, I rap." And I was like, "Oh, that's real cool." and she was literally, you know, on set. She was on set because they were probably working on music, her and I. So that's pretty cool.
You remember that? How long ago was that, Rob? That's crazy. It was like 10 years ago.
I would say so. Well, you know, I probably wouldn't remember, but I go back and see the pictures from the shoot, and when I see the crew shots, she's in them.
Oh, that's ill.
Oh my God,
that's a long time in the making.
Oh my God,
I have the luxury of, like, you know, a lot of times people will be like, "Yo," and you know, and these are posted online as well. That I go back through the pictures and I was like, "Oh, no way." So and so was there.
That's crazy.
So, Rob, I've got to imagine you have a number of pictures that could probably get some people in some interesting.
Ooh, you got some paparazzi shit, Rob.
Come on, Rob, you got something in the vault, man. You got to have something. I mean, taking flicks for what 20, 25 years now. You got to have some. There's got to be some heat.
You got some extortion material, Rob?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that, you know, I'm just, you know, I really give great respect to the people I photograph. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, being a part of this culture and being a photographer, I think there is a certain responsibility. And for example, I got a call from the Post, and they're like, "Do you have any photographs of Ka? You know, Brooklyn Ka?
Yep.
You guys familiar with him?
Yeah, yeah.
He's a real buttery, cool rapper. He's on some Rock Marciano joints. His album is fucking fire. But he's a real cool dude. I don't know him personally, but I met him and I like his music. So I had some pictures from some of his performances, Brooklyn HipHop Festival and backstage at a show. And the Post calls me and they're like, "Yo, we would love to print your photo." You know, and the guy started talking to me. And I'm like, "Well, you know, I really can't sell this image unless I know that this is a positive story." And it was a Saturday night or something like that. It was close to the weekend. And the guy said, "You know, I really can't give you my word that this is going to be a positive story. Like, we don't really know what the story is about." So I'm like, "Yeah, right." So I declined it. I said, "Listen, you got to understand, I have relationships with these people.
Right.
And I'm not about to just sell an image on somebody, you know." So the next day in the Post, there was this really racist story. And it was about how, you know, Ka, it was talking about his, you know, his day job and what he does professionally. He works for the fire department. I believe he's a chief, right? So they were questioning his lyrics, that his lyrics were talking about, his lyrics were keen lyrics addressing, like police violence and stuff like that. So they were just saying that his lyrics were negative against police, and he works on the, and I was like, this is just like a racist story. Like, I'm so glad I didn't sell the image,
Yeah.
And
I'm glad you didn't either.
In retrospect, I wish I had gotten in touch with Ka, and then we sold it together and split the money.
That's a good approach.
It was the cover of the Post.
Yeah, but it would have had to been for X amount of dollars, man, because what comes with that, the backlash that comes with that is probably he's not a fireman anymore or a fire chief or whatever.
No, they ran the story without my picture.
Yeah. But did the story affect his career any, or?
I do not think so.
Okay.
But I'm sure it didn't help. I'll have to ask him.
Okay.
Hopefully I get to photograph him properly soon.
Yeah.
It's an excellent MC.
That's what's up.
But I don't mess with that. I've had a couple opportunities when people try to buy photos of mine. I don't do that.
Yeah.
If it hurts people, I don't do it. I don't get involved with it.
Yeah.
My pictures, I had, when I had some great photos of Mobb Deep.
Mm.
And I don't like to talk about the negative stuff, but when they were kind of talking, they had a little beef a few years back.
Right.
I noticed my photos were popping up with text on them and part of the stories, and people were putting them into the negative stories where Havoc had said a couple of things. And so I spent 3 days and got all my photos pulled off of all those stories.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I never thought about that, and I've actually never spoke to anyone that's been in this predicament before. But how do you manage all of that? Like, how does that work, Rob? Like, when something like that happens, what do you technically have to do?
Well, a lot of times somebody will email you and say, like, "Hey, this is your picture on this." But when that Mobb Deep thing happened, I literally just Googled all recent stories, and then also I did reverse image searches on my imagery. Yep. And then when I just found places, I think there's still one blog that kept one image out, but I sent a threatening note. But, if you just tell people, listen, I'm gonna contact your provider that you're using my image without consent, and I'd like you to. Most people just swap it out. I also call friends at MTV. There was people, I had to call friends who were writers and say, listen, can you just swap out my photo with another photo, please? And just use something else. I don't want to be included in this negative story.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Wow. Now,
because if you
those
guys came to me to do a shoot, you're trusting me to protect your imagery, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So I try to honor that trust,
These stories that you're pulling your images from, do you get the proper credit?
A lot of them I wasn't even credited on, but I still just I didn't want like Prodigy and Havoc like pulling up a story and be like, yo, there's photo Rob's picture, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Even though I had nothing to do with it at all. I wasn't there, I wasn't involved. Someone literally jacked the photo and threw it up on their story.
Wow.
I still felt responsible to take it down.
Have you pulled photos based on the fact that you weren't properly credited?
Well, if you Google any one of my images, you'll probably see anywhere from I don't know, 10 to 50 posts where it's probably not credited.
Yeah. So that's not really a deal breaker for you.
Well, at this point, it's really not something I'm worried about.
Okay.
I'm really focused on documenting the culture right now, and
that's more important for sure.
Supporting my family,
Yeah, that's more important for sure. Okay.
Hey, Rob, how did you get into photography, man? Like, what's the story there?
I don't know. I think I was doing it in high school. They didn't have a lab in my high school, so I helped the teacher build one there. I'd done it in camp, and I loved it. And I think it was from camp that I had first tried it. I loved it, and then they didn't have a lab at my high school, so I helped them set one up and build one. And then in college, I was studying photography and business. No, I was studying in business school, and I hated it, so I switched to photography.
Oh, okay. So did you have a family member or relatives or something that were into photography or the arts, or like where does this stem from?
That's a good question. I mean, my mom's grandfather was a painter, and my dad would take a lot of photos, and my grandpa would take a lot of snapshots. I actually have this thing on my desk somewhere. My dad just gave it to me. My grandpa passed away. He had this thing that says "Photos by Cy Mayer." It's a little stamp, and he would give people snapshots.
Really?
But my dad did a little more photography. He did have around the house pictures of a bumblebee on a flower, up close to the macro lens.
Right. Right.
But I loved the photography of Cartier-Bresson, and I would go to the library and I would look at photographs of Irving Penn, Cartier-Bresson, and Herman Leonard, who was a famous jazz photographer. And it just kind of, people find that one thing that sort of opens up the whole world to them. And, and I was just really amazed pretty much by Cartier-Bresson's work. Okay. So originally I was doing a lot of street photography, and I really kind of looked down upon event photography or shooting at shows. I just thought it wasn't as creative as doing setup portraits and stuff.
Yeah.
But then at that time I was going through some stuff, some life stuff, some life challenging shit, and hip hop music. There's certain things that just resonates with my spirit. Uh-huh. So going to a museum, it would power me up. Going and hearing music, playing hip hop music, it would just, I could get out of my head, and it just resonated with my spirit. So the music would just, it's like meditation. So going and shooting hip hop shows was very meditative for me. Because you can't really think when there's so much going on. Create good photographs and you're hearing this great fucking music that you love and you grew up on.
Yeah.
So I was kind of seeking out the classic stuff, the stuff that I grew up on. I was like, how do I get to photograph Rakim?
Right.
And then I met Lawrence Professor and I photographed him, and meeting classic people.
Yeah.
Hearing this, there's times where I just I'll be in the pit and I'll just put my camera down.
Just rock out.
The stage will be going berserk, but I mean, it's like Pete Rock's playing an extended version of Troy that he made, and it's I just got to put my camera down. And
Yeah.
So you love this shit like we love this shit. Sometimes the camera can do you feel like it can be a hindrance? It can get in the way. It'll keep you from experiencing a moment in its purest form if you just consistently stuck behind the camera or whatever?
That's a good point. I would say I couldn't argue with that. I think probably yes.
Wow.
But without that camera, the camera's a passport.
Oh, absolutely.
That camera, I was front row. I was in the pit when JayZ opened the Barclays the first night. I didn't have a ticket.
You had that camera though, didn't you?
I wouldn't have been there. It's a passport. So yeah. I guess there's definitely a con to that. You do maybe miss the pure experience of it.
Yeah. But you have something within you that tells you when it's time to put that away. I mean, just speaking about the Pete Rock thing, you probably had hundreds of photos from that night already, right? Is there a point where you show up at a venue or an event to work and you feel like you've gotten the job done for the night, so now it's just time to enjoy the night?
It's funny, like I'm usually like I'm afraid that I'm gonna miss a moment. So I try to keep the camera. I try not to pack up the camera, even at the end of the night. Because sometimes you walk outside and it's like somebody's standing
Something
there.
else will be going on, yeah. Got you.
Yeah, like you never know. Like there's always something. Like at the end of Rock the Bells, I think it was 2010. It was the end of the night. I'm kind of walking by. I'm passing the trailers. And so I think I saw Fashawn and Exile. You know, some West Coast guys. So I'm talking with them a little bit and letting them know, like, oh man, I know who you guys are. I love your music. I think I might have taken a few pictures of them that were not really that great. And then so pretty much winding down. And then at that time, Big Crit was just starting to bubble up a little bit, you know? They're like, oh, yeah, he was playing a small stage, a very small stage. Like, yo, Big Crit's on that RV right there. Why don't you go in there?
Wow.
And then I look to my left, and I see this guy walk. I'm like, yo, is that Mos Def over there? You know, now known as Yasin Bey.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's fucking Mos Def over there, right?
Oh, shit.
So I just walk over like, yo, just want to give you some respect. And I was like, can I take a photo of you? And he was like hiding under his jacket. He's like, take this one. And he's like hiding under his jacket. Like, it looked like a guy with a jacket on his head. I'm like, come on, man. Please. You know. And I go, look, here's my car. And I show him a car. And I had this real cool photo. And he's like, all right, I'll let you take one. And he like peeks out of the jacket. But there's moments, I guess I'm just afraid I'm going to miss something at the end. So generally, I'll put down the camera, but also like generally when someone plays their hit song,
yeah,
everyone goes berserk. So it's really a good time for photos.
And you want to capture that moment. I got you. Yo,
But
Rob,
I'll just rhyme along. Like I'll take some flicks and I'll rhyme the words and I'll point at the guy, So it's awesome, man. It's so cool, man. I get to meet my heroes. I'm really a hip hop head and a fan.
No doubt. I can sense it too, man.
Yeah.
I want to go back to your commercial work for a minute. We talked about the Maker's Mark, but in the notes I got here that campaigns for kids, Bank of America, Guggenheim Museum. First of all, has any of your work appeared in the Guggenheim?
No, that was for Fred Ho, who was he passed away, but he was a brilliant saxophone player, revolutionary thinker. Just a very positive individual fighting for marginalized peoples. Brilliant guy, Harvard. I met him on a Harvard magazine shoot, and then that picture got used for the Guggenheim advertising their shows. But I do have a museum piece that is not in the Guggenheim, but it's in the World Trade Memorial Museum.
Yep, I saw that in the notes as well. Yeah.
Talk to us about that, Rob.
So, long story short, on 9/11, I was living on 23rd Street. I saw out the window one of the towers was burning, so I jumped on my bicycle, threw in my bag my Mamiya RZ, because it wasn't digital yet, right? Digital was not really happening, because you might shoot on like a 4x5 camera, but the digital packs were $10,000.
Right.
So it just wasn't like it's not something that I could afford or really be a part of at that time. So I threw my RZ, which is a 6.7 film camera. It's a little bigger than like a Rolleiflex, the 2x2s, and 6x6. And so I jump on my bike. I'm taking some portraits right by Canal Street, and then one tower falls down. I take some more photos of one tower standing, and that tower falls. In the days after, there was a show called Here is New York where I volunteered. I didn't want to go down to the sites to volunteer because I had a little bit of knowledge of asbestos and just how lethal that was. And, you know, the politicians were telling us at the time that the air was fine, but I had been on asbestos removal sites in a photography job, and they wrapped us head to toe, covered our hands because apparently asbestos can breathe through your skin.
No shit.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, they're not really being upfront about this, but I need to volunteer. So I volunteered at Here's New York, and I scanned photos as people brought their photos, and it was a gallery show of just 9/11 pictures. Anyway, I had this great photo of one tower standing with all the smoke billowing around it. I submitted it to the Here is New York, and then the curator of Here is New York eventually was like, you know, Rob, this picture is amazing. I may want to use it in the museum. So I was like, oh, sure, that would be great. And I kind of I just kind of didn't believe it, but he kept telling me that it was going to be you know, big in the museum. And so he said it could be like a mural-sized piece. And this was like in 2007, he was telling me this, that it was at this might be big. So he said the museum's not going to open until 2011. And then I got the contracts, signed the contract. And they said 10 images were going to be chosen to be huge murals in the museum, and yours was one of them. And then I had to wait till 2011, and then 2011 came. They're like, okay, well, since we had the flood, it probably won't open 2013. Anyway, the museum opened, and it's in there. It's like 17 feet tall.
Oh man!
It's one of my photos of the when there was a 45-minute period of one tower standing, and right when the first one fell, smoke surrounded it and kind of like framed it. It's a beautiful image, but it's really depressing.
Yeah.
I generally don't show it because we end up talking about 9/11, and it's just so damn depressing, you know.
Yeah. And I don't really want to harp on that, but whenever I think about 9/11, I just remember I was working for an insurance company, and for whatever reason, I called out sick that day, and good friend of ours, DJ Fisher, called me. I think he was living in Florida at the time, but he's got tons of family in New York, and he called me. He was like, he didn't say hello or nothing like that. He was like, yo, you watching this? I was like, watching what? He's like, yo, man, some shit's going on up in New York. I'm in the bed. I get the remote. First shit comes up as soon as I turn TV on is the towers and shit. Yeah. And the first plane had already hit. And I just sat there and watched that whole shit, man, like in disbelief. And just to know that you were basically at ground zero, right?
That's crazy. Rob, why didn't you run, dude? Like that's
that photographer shit.
This is what I don't understand. So explain this to me, Rob.
That's when you put the camera down and get the fuck out.
You photographer motherfuckers are crazy. Cause y'all are like fucking tornado chasers. Like what do they call them? Storm chasers or tornado, whatever the fuck they are. Where they get in the trucks and
they ride with the storm.
Yeah, like that's what you do. Like, how does that?
Well, Canal Street's like, I'd say maybe it's a mile away, right? The Canal Street Pier. I wasn't that close. And at the time where I was standing there, I didn't know a plane hit it. I just thought it was on fire.
Oh.
I didn't see the planes hit. I just saw it on fire and then come down about a mile away. Like, I'll never forget that sound. But something I could tell you that I didn't photograph that was unbelievable was that the next day I got on my bicycle and I rode around the city at like 9 o'clock at night. It was like that movie Legend. There was nobody on the street. Nobody.
Oh, really?
There was like, I think I saw 5 other people. And like I rode downtown, and then I got all the way down to like, I think it was, Houston, and they closed Houston. They closed the whole city below Houston.
Damn, that's ill.
And I just rode my bike, and it was just street after street of like empty town. I wish I had photographed empty streets in Manhattan, because it was like something I've never seen before. It was like a horror movie. Right. It was like everyone had been killed by a fucking meteor or something.
Right. That's ill. Damn, that is crazy. So Rob, is that probably the most I guess impactful, or I don't know what the right word is, but like was that a moment when you were like, wow, this is really made, I've made my mark with this image? Or had that happened prior to that date, or had there been other things when you're like, wow, this is career defining?
Well, I thought I would become famous from that, and that didn't happen. But I will tell you, like, I don't know what people think I don't know what's going to be the favorite images that other people have of my imagery. But I can tell you, like, the first time I photographed Rakim, I remember waking up the next day like, wow, I really was on stage with Rakim, and like I was talking to myself probably just like this. And I was like, man, I just felt like I had to pinch myself, like,
right,
like, wow,
that's dope.
Like I was on stage with the God. There was one point where he was talking to me. He was saying, he's like, "Hey, photo man, get this shot."
That's dope.
And I was taking shots of him talking to me.
That's dope.
To meet him and photograph him, I've met him a few times, and also I got an opportunity, thanks to Ambrosia for Heads, to photograph De La Soul. And it's funny, people talk about their top 5, and I would say Posthumous is on my top 5, and I think a lot of people, I used to have a top 5. I was like, okay, my top 5 has Biggie and da-da-da. Like, who's the best rapper? Who's the, but I also have a top 5 of, like,
man,
MCs that most moved my life, and I listened to. I remember that 3 Feet High is Rising. I love it.
I'm with you on that. And Dave is right, not too far, but right behind them, man. Like, absolutely. I have always said that shit. Pos is so fucking slept on, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
What was that? What was that shoot for, Rob?
But I think I think your top 5 should be, stuff that you listened to and you grew up on. I don't think anybody should everyone have the same top 5, or do it? Like, aren't we allowed to disagree on albums?
No, we totally.
And another point,
totally allowed to disagree, but it's like if you really love the shit, like you say you love the shit, and just hearing you talk about your experiences, I could tell, like, you really, really, really love this shit. So, yeah, you supposed to have a different top 5 from anybody else and disagree on some certain things, but there's this place of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's this undeniable place that at some point your top 5 is going to align with somebody else's. It's just undeniable. You just can't escape that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if
And
you really, if you
your
really
top five
love the
definitely
shit,
has to be the best guy.
oh yeah, yeah, man, yeah. So you can't. So at some point you gonna bump into somebody that's or a few people that's probably got the same top five as you. You know what I mean? You can't escape that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, especially if you grew up in a similar time. So what I was going to say is, and I agree with that totally. By the way, so I was like, with the Ambrosia for Heads guys, Jake Payne and Reggie over there at Ambrosia for Heads. I kind of hounded them like, let's shoot this De La Soul party, and they were good enough to put up with my hounding them. So we went to the album release, and I got there early, and the writer Amanda Mester got there early as well. And since we were there early, manager Brandon was like, okay, well, you want to do that now? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. And I said, listen, I parked my car out front. There's a light out there. Could I get my light and just set up something? So I was able to like set up a real nice portrait by a couch. Anyway, De La turned out really like the picture, and they put it in their press packet.
Yeah,
and then it started to pop up on Billboard and NPR and stuff. And then, then when Rolling Stone did the album review, they used my photo.
Wow.
Right?
That's it.
That's how I felt.
That's it.
I was like, so now I share a really small bit of history with those guys,
Absolutely.
Like that's like I'm connected to their history.
That seems to be a recurring theme here.
Because like that was my freshman year in college.
Wow.
Oh shit.
Harry Durant took me down to the record store. He's like, yo, you gotta buy this record right here. This one, 3 Feet High is Rising. Because I was playing By All Means Necessary in my room, and Harry comes over. He's like, who's this white dude? And he's playing KRS, he's playing Boogie Down Productions, He's like, you like this shit? And I'm like, yes, I do. And so we became best buddies instantly. And he told me to buy the De La record. And I can't tell you how many times I played that record. I probably know every lyric in there, the skits and everything.
Rob, what college did you go to, man? Where'd you go to school?
I went to Syracuse.
Oh, you're in Syracuse. Okay.
He's an Orangeman.
All right.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Yo, Rob, real quick, going back to your commercial work, Keds.
Yes,
was this anywhere near the time that Dame Dash had purchased the brand? I think Keds is different from Pro Keds, but I think they're the same brand. Was this around that time, being that you're a part of the hip hop culture there in New York?
No, I don't think that was connected to that.
Okay.
That was just they wanted a real just kind of like how just like a very universal kind of image, and so it was a challenging shoot. It's tough to shoot kids like that, They have a very short attention span.
Yeah.
And my brother had kids, so I was like, now I have kids and I understand that probably. A little bit. He's like, here's what you do. Bring some bags of Cheerios and some fruit snacks and some apples. So I had like a cooler full of shit, and we went out to
shit, they really going to be
Central
off the
Park.
rails then.
And we
that
get
damn
out to the
sugar.
park where I cleared the shoot, and the it's called the Great Lawn or something. It was closed. And then but luckily it was about to open at 11. So we went by the pond, took a couple of flicks, and those became the ads that they used online.
Okay, dope.
That's dope.
Yo, the Bank of America ad, did they have bags of money at the shoot? Like did you
get the bag?
did you walk away with a bag after that shoot?
I wish, man. I've yet to receive the classic hip hop bag of cash. You know what's funny is like when you look back and part of the reason why I was so enamored by hip hop was like when you watch those old Biggie videos, he'd be on like like a huge yacht, right? Him and Diddy, they'd be on this like huge, like I don't know how many 100-feet yacht, and they'd be popping champagne, and there'd be just beautiful ladies in there, right? So I'm pretty deep into hip hop now. There ain't no yacht yet, like I've yet to be on the boat.
No yachts.
So it's funny, like, so to you kids watching it with those bags of cash, there's guys getting them, but don't quit your day job.
Hell no. Don't ever do that. If you want to eat on a regular basis, keep a roof over your goddamn head and clothes on your body. Don't ever quit your day job for this rap shit.
No shit.
You got to do something for the money and something for the honey.
Yeah,
that's
no
right.
doubt. Yeah. Well, hey, Rob, what's your mix like between like hip hop shit and kind of like your more, I guess, I don't know if this is the right term or not, but A-list. Like, I mean, you've done some pretty big, you had some pretty big, shoots with, Lin-Manuel and Bill Hader and, guys like those. Like,
man, that kind of goes into something I want to ask.
Crazy.
Go
like,
ahead.
What's the mix like, man? Because, our listeners, for example, would obviously be, being at the hip hop shit, but what's it like for you on a day-to-day basis with the type of work you get? Is it all over the place, or are you kind of stuck in one lane right now, or?
It's really weird. Like I'm a very diverse photographer. So I was just doing some work with Aisha Tyler, which involves some still life work.
Yeah.
She is such a cool person, by the way. And it's very random. Also a couple weeks ago, I went to the Rock Marciano show.
Mm-hmm.
That was a real highlight for me because I think that was probably my, in my top two albums between the two best albums of the year, in my opinion, were Damn and Rosebud's Revenge. Which I piggybacked all year. All year I played them back to back, like both of those records, both those albums.
Yo, Rob, what you thought about the negative feedback on Rosebud's Revenge, like the audio quality? I personally hated that shit. Like, motherfuckers ain't got nothing else to complain about. Here this man is a virtual legend in the game. Still out here doing this shit. Still got money from Carson Daly. Still raw as fuck. Got the one what I consider one of the best labels out right now, being Griselda Records. And all they had to say was, "Yeah, it was cool, but why it sound like that?" What did you pick up on any of that, and what did you think about it if you did?
I mean, if you compare that album to all this past work, this is a really well mixed album. I don't know what they're talking about.
Man.
Yeah, I didn't understand
that either. I honestly think that thing sounds great, but I don't know. Like, I mean, I listen to it on headphones. I'm not banging it on. I really don't know what to talk about. It sounds fucking great to me.
Right. I really think we in a spot with the culture right now where people are scared to admit that this shit ain't going nowhere. And as and when I say not going anywhere, like everybody's on this hip hop is dead and hip hop ain't what it used to be, and real hip hop could never come back or survive, what's considered hip hop by today's standards with the mumble rap. I think people are just afraid to admit that, man, this shit ain't going nowhere. It's gotten to the point where you got cats 19, 20 years old that's doing it the right way, and motherfuckers act like they don't even exist. So I think people are just afraid to continue to embrace it, kind of like a if you can't beat them, join them type mentality. I think it's a fear thing when you have people, all they can talk about the new Rock Marcy album is the audio quality of it. Shit is sad.
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, it was a lot, man. It was, all over social media. Blah. That's something we hadn't talked about either. Is like you don't sound like you really into social media too much. You probably winning in life because of that too right now.
It's funny, I'm addicted to Instagram.
Are you really?
It's photo based.
Well,
I get that.
I'm a photographer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I get that.
I literally get to see everyone's photos.
Yeah.
So for me, that's it's meditative, and also highly addictive. I think I'm probably addicted to looking at that shit.
Thinking about that, and it's funny you mentioned that. What did you think about the photography boom? What was it, 10 years ago? Everybody was showing up with a fucking camera. It was a still shot camera or a still shot video combo camera, like some the Canon shit. What's the date on that? Like, do you have a definitive date where you can remember where you turn to your left, you turn to your right, and everybody's got a fucking camera?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that shit?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think it's a good question.
That is a good question. Also, one thing that happened was dudes would be filming from their iPads from the pit.
Yes. Oh, dude, I still, to this day, do not fucking understand that. Why?
No, I think it's journalists, so they're there writing their story, and then they're like, "Let me get some footage," but it blocks everyone, and then it looks so bizarre.
That shit looks dumb as hell. And I
no
never thought
my journalist friends who did that.
Yeah, right.
And I never thought the quality on iPad, whether it was video or still shot, was that good. Like they probably, they on generation 8 right now with the iPad, so I'm pretty sure the camera in that shit is top notch. But them first generation, that shit was horrible.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
And you know what? It's funny because I think makes what you're pointing out is the bigger question, and what it goes back to and refers to is in everything, and with the digital age that we're living in now, everybody can be a producer. Everybody, even in your industry, everyone can have a podcast. Everyone can have take photos, right? So I think in a nutshell, for me with photography, and I think it's the same with hip hop, is that any conversation is made better by more opinions and more conversation about it. However, the saturation of that conversation that comes through with too many mediocre opinions coming in can saturate in a negative way.
Right. Indeed.
So you have a lot of shitty hip hop being created. You have a lot of mediocre podcasts. You have a lot of mediocre photography that we're all inundated with. But there's also a lot of great work there. It's just, and I think the cream does float to the top.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, you shooting film anymore these days, or you still all digital?
All digital. Very, very rarely will I shoot film. I don't know the last time. I couldn't tell you the last time I did film. I think the last time I did film was either the Sean Price shoot or the or maybe Tom Wolfe.
Wolfe, okay.
Is there any is there any prospect or any request that could come your way that would make you say, I need to get film on this. I ain't fucking with that digital shit.
Right, yeah.
Or do you even look at film that way? Like it's got to be something special for you to go out and do an actual film shoot.
I thought that very recently, Diamond D, who's a Atlanta guy lives down there, right?
Yeah.
So he did a project with Sadat X, legendary hip hop champion of Brand Nubian.
No doubt.
Cue the applause button. So, and Diamond D is, he just knows what he wants. He's got a vision. So he's like, Rob, I want this to look like an old black and white photo, with the edges on it, and, and with some scratches and stuff like that. So I thought I would, shoot it on film, but when you shoot on film, you're going to spend $400 on the film that's developing. Then you got to scan everything. Then you got to retouch the dust and da-da-da-da. So what I did was I just used Photoshop techniques. I just scanned an old negative and pulled off the old numbers off of some old film. I combined that with the digital image. I flipped it. I found some large files that were scratched up surfaces online, which I used in opaque layers, and I had the opacity dialed down so there were see-through layers of scratching. So that when you look at the Sum of Man cover, Sadat X and Diamond D, it looks like an old 6x6 photo.
Right.
Okay.
But it was taken, it's a digital image made to look like that.
Right.
But honestly, the expense today is so great that it's, it's like...
It doesn't even make sense, huh?
There's just no budget for that. There's no budget for that. And the time, too.
Yeah.
Time, budget,
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because there's not even a lot of facilities for processing that right now, are there?
I think there are quite a few. I think there's quite a few that keep it going, and it's become very popular with the generation now. Like a lot of the kids are doing it.
Okay,
shooting film because it's so fun.
Okay, gotcha.
Like I know several people, and also somebody bought the Polaroid plant, and they're keeping that going.
Okay,
I just was speaking to a friend who works over there, so it's definitely an art form that's being continued, and a lot of people are playing with it these days. Even my little brother was like, he's been shooting some film.
Got you. Yo, real quick, going back to what John was asking about, like the A-list people that you work with, and just thinking about some of the hip hop artists, specifically a situation where Mos Def wants to pull his coat over his head and tell you to take a picture. What's the general interaction with whether it be an A-list celebrity or a hip-hop luminary or what have you? Do you possess the ability to like get them to open up and really
that's a good question.
Make love to the camera? Do you is it pulling teeth? You know what I'm saying? Is it like pulling teeth? Is it a situation where they come ready to work, or it's always a struggle?
It's I've had varied experiences, and I think what I've come to realize is that most people do not enjoy getting their photo taken. And I think that the reason is it taps into our self-doubt. I think that when we stand in front of a camera, I get self-conscious myself. And I think that it taps into our self-doubt. Like, do I look okay? Am I good enough? That thought, like, am I attractive enough? So in our own minds, we're so concerned with how we look that, we're very self-critical human beings. So I think the whole experience is kind of like going to the dentist a little bit, in that like no one really likes to go, even though we like the results.
Right.
So I really do put people at ease.
How do you do that, Rob? What do you do?
I joke around. I'm very silly. I don't take myself too seriously.
You have a little squeeze toy?
Serious ones.
Squeeze toy. You have a box of toys, Rob?
Yeah, I do. I have a little birdie.
A little birdie?
Just like your high school shoe. No, I don't have a. I'm just kidding.
I know you're not. I'm just, for whatever reason, all I can think about right now is my first son. I have 4 kids, Rob. So my oldest son, who is now 12, I'll never forget being at whatever, horrible photographer studios we were at. And this guy is dressed in an elephant costume, and we stuffed him into a pumpkin. And we're sitting here taking photos of this guy.
That's crazy.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
Hey, Rod, I got one more. What's your studio setup like? I noticed that in the notes as well. Is it
Yeah, you're in Brooklyn, right?
My studio is in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg.
Okay. Is it full functioning? Is it do you do all your work start to finish there? Do you have the white room? Is there green screen? What are you dealing with in your studio?
It's just an open space, and okay. I got like a whole bunch of backdrops on the wall, different colors, and then some shoots will be a location shoot. Like I'll go somewhere for the shoot. For the Bill Hader shoot, I was like, okay, this guy's a real big star. Is he really going to come out to Brooklyn? I don't know. So it was for the Village Voice at that time. The art director was John Dixon, just a brilliant art director. He moved out of New York. I wish he stayed, man, because I really love working. When you work with someone who pushes you, mm-hmm. Who requires you to give your best all the time. Working with people like that force you to step up your game, it's a real privilege. Oh. So I was like, let's get a studio. Like, I don't know where this guy lives, but why don't we get a studio that's near to Rockefeller Center? Whereas, because if he goes there for work every day, he was still in Saturday Night Live, it'll be easy for him to get there. So maybe he lives Midtown or something. So I found a studio, I think it was on like 28th Street and Park Avenue or something. So we rented a studio. And when I do a shoot, it's like you guys too. I think what puts people at ease is if you've done your homework, Mm-hmm. So I had researched on Bill Hader. He was a real down-to-earth dude. I saw, like, if you look on his interview on Late Night with David Letterman, he's wearing very worn Converse high tops and like jeans. So I said to the stylist, I said, you should be prepared. He may not want to wear what we're bringing because we're bringing a lot of, cool, hip clothes.
Yeah.
So I was very prepared on that shoot. And it turns out, like, he's a really down-to-earth guy, super cool, very intelligent. And during the whole shoot, he was very involved with the whole process, was like wanted to be involved with, making the photos, making sure they were authentic, making sure they were funny, making sure they were funny. Like, are we here doing funny shit or, I want to look good,
Right.
He didn't say that, but he was a really cool guy. Like, it's a real cool when you get to meet like A-list guys like that and just have a conversation. And, I did a really good job for the magazine. It just, for the newspaper, it just was a real honor.
That's what's up.
Did you know the Village Voice discontinued this year?
Yeah.
This past year?
I know. Wow. It's so unfortunate.
Wow.
Altogether, right? There's not, is there even digital available now?
They're still doing digital.
Okay.
They're still alive digitally. Yeah. But their last print issue was last year.
It's a shame.
It was very sad because that's a New York staple paper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of publications are going that route. It's funny, growing up, you think something like that, magazines like that, you could never put a price on something like that. But I just saw this guy that owns this shea butter thing just bought Essence magazine and Shea moisturizer or whatever. And
what?
Yeah, and it's just
pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess so.
Awesome,
I hope he can keep that shit open, but also it comes down to like I get the newspaper at my house right now, but ask me if I subscribe to it or if I pay for a subscription.
Right.
No, they just want me to take the newspaper.
Yep. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy times.
Yeah, it's changed.
First Walmart and Sam's closed down, and then the Village Voice just discontinued. This shit's crazy.
So, Rob,
as long as they don't close Varsity.
Yeah, right.
Look at you.
Oh, that motherfucker.
Been to Atlanta, huh?
Yeah, man.
What you was doing
that Buckhead Diner's open.
What you was doing in Atlanta, Rob?
I was there on corporate shoot.
What was it?
Oh man, I couldn't even say. I think I was a photo assistant at the time. I was could have been UPS.
Okay.
Could have been the UPS annual report. I was the assistant.
Okay, got you.
So Rob,
because I remember they got those big hubs in Atlanta. They got big companies, Coca-Cola.
I was in the Pleasantdale hub at UPS for 2 years.
Yeah.
And the corporate
cool.
Yeah, the corporate office is up in Alpharetta area. Yeah, man. Atlanta's crazy.
When I was on that job, I said to them, "Hey, listen, can I get a UPS outfit? Because I want to be that. Maybe I could be that for Halloween or something." They said, "We can't give you one." I'm like, "Why not?" And they're like, "Because you could commit crimes with it."
Oh shit!
Go pick up packages and shit. Hell yeah!
Yo, speaking of,
knock on the door.
Yeah.
Oh, it's UPS guy. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you know what's funny on some hip hop shit? At the time when the House of Pain shit dropped, was it Danny Boy or Lethal was wearing a FedEx hat? And for whatever reason, the circle that I was running in, it was all skateboarders. So they were all obviously into hip hop, but they were super into House of Pain.
Yeah.
And like having a FedEx hat.
So that was a goal in life.
That was some shit. Because if you had a FedEx hat, apparently you could commit some crimes with FedEx. And
skaters didn't give a fuck. So just think about how many FedEx delivery guys got jacked for their shit.
Caught a fucking skateboard truck
to the
right
face.
to the fucking face.
Hell yeah. But you can go in Hooters and get a full Hooters outfit.
No, you get the Hooters outfit.
Hell no.
Oh Lord. So Rob, let's wrap this thing up, man. We taking enough of your time.
Yeah, we done went off the rails.
Yeah, well, real quick, what's in store for you in 2018? Anything you can speak of or allude to, or what should we be checking for you this year, man? What's going on?
Jeez, I mean, a lot of the same thing. It's like I was just thinking, like, it just keeps going. In that, you have to grind. I still have to grind, I still have to hustle. I still have to, I still have to like keep my eyes open. What shows are coming through New York, and who haven't I photographed yet? And how can I get access to photograph them? And I still have to hustle and bring my work around it. It's like nobody puts anything in your pocket. I think when I was young, I had these like starry eyes of like, oh, people are going to find out how dope I am. And then they're just going to hire me and I'm going to be famous for doing this stuff. And the truth of the matter is that kind of story does happen to people, but that's not my story. Right. I had to really work hard. I had to get rejected from every magazine and I had to go hustle. Now I'm in every single hip hop publication probably on this planet.
Right.
But I had to hustle and I had to get out there and I had to, spend endless nights photographing shows and, going out in the rain and stuff like that. And it's still a hustle and I love it and I'm not complaining and I'm grateful. I guess the bottom line is that I really do feel like I'm a guest, and it's an honor to get the access to photograph these genius musicians that I love that have created, the soundtrack of my life. So I don't want to be mistaken for their genius, but I am grateful to have been documenting it and to have come up with some great photos of some of the legends that we love. And I'm good at it. I worked hard at it. At this point, I know what I'm doing. So it's a real honor and a real privilege. And I'm really grateful to be on your guys' show, man. And to have met you guys. I hope that the next time I'm down there, shout out to my Atlanta peoples, by the way.
Absolutely.
Shout out.
Thank you. Oh, J57 wanted me to tell that story about.
Oh, yeah, Primo.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to tell it?
I mean, is it too late?
Let's get it. That was one of the highlights. I'm sorry we kind of glossed over that. Let's get it.
Run it. Let's hear it.
So J57 calls me. He's like, "Yo, you want to do this 406 video? It's going to be like an honorary piece talking about Fat Beats closing." And at that point, it already had closed. So he's like, "You know what? I spoke to DJ Premier, and he's going to be in the video. All right? Do you want to come with me up to D&D Studios and take some footage of DJ Premier?"
Word.
It's like twist my arm. You don't even ask.
Yeah,
like,
no shit.
Go.
Yeah.
Right.
So he sets it up. It's like a Tuesday night. I think we've shot. I don't know if we've already shot most of the video at this point. And we go up there, and as we're driving there, so J57 knows Primo pretty well now, and Primo knows who I am at this point. I've done some great photographs of Prime and I've documented many times.
Shot Guru too, right?
I shot Guru separately. It was 2007.
Okay.
Rest in peace to the God Guru, one
No
of the
doubt.
greatest MCs of all time.
No doubt.
And in the car, so at this time, so he knew Primo extended this because we were friends of DJ Eclipse, and at J57 was answering phones on DJ Eclipse's show at the time. So we're driving up to the studio to meet him. And I tell my wife, I'm like, okay, we're shooting Primo at like 10 o'clock. I'll be home by 11. Because we're only going to get in there for like 5-10 minutes. He doesn't want to, he's a busy guy. So we're in the car, and I picked J57 up, and he's like, okay, so Primo doesn't really want, he's like, don't small talk with him, And I'm like, oh, we just started busting each other's balls. And I'm like, yo, I see you guys are real tight. Don't talk to him. Don't look him in the face. You got 5 minutes. So we're just kind of making fun of each other. And we start sitting there, we're waiting. And so he would text Primo, he's like, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And it's like 12 o'clock now. I told my wife I'd be home at 11.
Right.
So it's like 12 o'clock. And we keep getting oh, I'm 5 minutes away. Oh, I'm on the FDR. I'm 15 minutes away. I'm 5 minutes away. It's been literally 2 hours of just sitting in the car on, I forgot what street that was. Was it like 33rd Street or something? Or 32nd Street? So we're sitting over there, and it's by Penn Station, so you got a lot of traffic over there, and there's some seedy joints over there, and so there's some business deals happening around the car, just And so we're just sitting there, and then I have to call my wife. It's like 1 o'clock. I'm like, she's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like 1 o'clock, and I go,
babe, DJ Premier. Look, DJ Premier.
DJ, that's exactly what I said.
Exactly.
I go, this guy is the most prolific producer in hip-hop of all time. He may be the best hip-hop producer ever.
He is the best.
So I'm going I said, listen, I'm not going anywhere. If there's a chance I can photograph him, I'm going to wait here. So then we're like laughing at each other. We're getting really giddy, me and J57. And then we go to like we got to get some food now. it's like 4 hours past. So we go to like this subway, and it's like the dirtiest subway in the history of subways.
God damn.
That's strong.
And,
hell
we
yeah,
finally
for
get
New York.
That's strong.
And DJ Premier was like, I'm 5 minutes away. I'm on the FDR. So we're joking like, yo, he's in the bath, dude. He's like taking a bath saying he's in the FDR. Finally, Primo comes. He lets up those stairs. He's like, I don't want you guys shooting here. You guys shoot out there by the records. And he's got, he's just got a wall full of like accolades, platinum records, gold records. Like, it's just like, it's really, it's like when you go into those places of it's just awe-inspiring, of how great and what a champion this man is,
Man.
So I set up my camera to do a shot by all of the, because he's got huge plaques for like working with Christina Aguilera and shit. But, we're hip hop, so we're more interested in like,
fucking group home.
The Gangstar
stuff.
Shit.
J-Roo.
Exactly. So there was some Gangstar shit over there. So we set up by that corner. So when Primo came out, when he's like, you guys are ready? Let's get this done real quick. He's like, he looked back of where we set up, and he's like, oh, okay. He's like, you're setting up by this Gangstar shit, so you guys are cool and know what you're doing. Because most people, if they went in that studio, would set up on the wall where there's like Christina Aguilera record, and there's a picture of Christina talking to him. And,
nah.
But we were like hip hop dudes.
We don't even remember that Aguilera shit.
Yeah. And so it was a great honor. I took a couple snaps of him and D&D, a couple of photos. He if you watch the 406 video, he's standing there by the records and nodding. It was a nice cameo. But I photographed him many times at this point at shows and met him. He's just a force of nature,
Man, we was in the MJQ.
Beyond legend.
We was in the MJQ with Christina Aguilera one night. She was washed up then. Anyway, I'm glad you
Who was?
Shit, me and you.
When?
You don't remember that night?
No, I don't remember that.
Anyway, I don't even want to.
Was that the night when I was trying to fight somebody upstairs?
Might have been.
Gorgeous, dude.
Yeah, she wasn't gorgeous that night I saw.
Beautiful.
She wasn't gorgeous.
Hell nah. I think she came up in that bitch with Dallas Austin. So you already know what the fuck was going on. Anyway. Yo, Rob, that awesome story, man.
Thank you, dude.
I'm glad y'all set up by the Gangstar shit.
Hell yeah.
That's the only way it needed to go down, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how we know and love Primo. You know what I mean? Had to go down that way.
Yeah, he's the man.
Hell yeah.
And if you ever see J57, you could say, yo, I'll be there in 5 minutes.
I'll be there in 5 minutes.
That's the joke now.
We were set to shoot at 10. We didn't get up there till 2 a.m.
Yeah. That's some superstar
That's classic.
shit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's some superstar shit right there.
That's classic.
It was so funny, man.
Yeah.
It's classic.
We
still say it to this day. Like, he'll tweet something from Atlanta. I'll be like, yo, that looks great. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Hell yeah. Yep. That's what's up.
All right. So Rob, tell everybody where you can or where they can go check your shit. Like Instagram, Twitter, websites, or, whatever they can do to come check you out. I don't know if there's a way that people can put money in your pocket, but this is where you do that. So just let the folks know where they can go to check you out, man.
Well, you could just go Photo Rob NYC on Instagram, or if you just Google Photo Rob Hip Hop, you'll enjoy the hip hop photos, and I hope you like them. I love what I do. I don't need to say that, so I hope you like the work and enjoy it. It's all over the place.
Word, it
is. When you
is.
see that little Photo Rob tag in the corner of pictures, now you know that's me. That's me.
Oh.
Yo, real quick, what fucked me up the most were those Jay Electronica and JayZ pics, man. Because Yo, those pictures are fucking incredible. I had no idea that was you.
Yo, when I saw that in the prep topics, the imagery for those popped in my head immediately. I know exactly which photos.
Yeah,
I just didn't know that you were the photographer on that. So salute to you based on that there.
Man. Great flicks, man.
Dope shit.
Great flicks.
Thank you so much. I think those might be the most probably memorable pics like that people are going to look back on. And that show was crazy, man. That was one of the best sets I've ever
heard
seen.
that. Yeah.
That reminds me of a story. I'm just fucking with you. I'm just playing. Because I know you guys are trying to wrap it up.
Yeah, we only got 5 minutes left on this interview.
Real quick. So Rob, did you know Jay was going to show up? Did you know JayZ was going to show up or no?
You want to hear something that's funny? Is that so? Wes Jackson, the founder of the festival, right when I was setting up before anyone got there, he comes over to me. He's like, "Yo," he's like, JLX bringing someone big today. And I go, he's bringing JayZ? Because I knew that they were fucking with each other at the time. Right. And he's like, no, not that big. I guessed it. And he goes, no, not that big. And then I go, oh, he's bringing Nas, because I knew he was fucking with
or Beyonce.
Right?
Or Solange.
And then he's like, no, and he walked away from me because I guessed it.
Yeah, he was pissed. That's the last year you're shooting the Brooklyn HipHop Festival there, Rob. That's the last year.
Because I knew he was there because Wes comes over to me and goes, yo, JayZ's coming in 5 minutes. Come with me and meet him at the door.
Nice.
What?
So we got some shots of him coming in.
Yo,
nice.
Rob.
Wes didn't know who he was fucking with.
Yeah. Yo, no shit.
Wes has got some great stories. Like he said, like he was talking on the phone with JLX. I can't tell his story. It's not my position.
Yeah.
But he thinks that JayZ was listening into some calls to make sure their security was right.
Okay. That's what's up.
But I'll let Wes tell it. That's Wes's story.
Well, yo, man, set us up with Wes Jackson, man, and make us mark.
You know what's ill? What's ill is that, and Wes would probably never remember this, but exactly. I actually had a small relationship with Wes Jackson when he worked for Seven Heads. No, not even Seven Heads. No, not Seven Heads. For Rawshack. For the J Live shit. And then when he started his promotions company, Seven Heads, when I was doing college radio, there were times when I talked with Wes at least like, if not once a week, it was every other week and then 2 weeks. And just to see him evolve and do the Brooklyn HipHop Festival, it's great, man. It's good shit. So, but yeah, we should have him on the show. It's been a long time since I talked to that guy, but we should definitely have him on the show.
Dope.
Oh, you definitely should. He's just got some of the coolest stories, from behind the scenes at the festival. It's like, you don't know in circumstances, like we're putting on a show and we went a little over time and the cops show up and they literally want to like pull the power cords out.
Right.
And, in just what the challenges that he has had to deal with to
keep it going,
put on a big hip hop show.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with racist institutions, it's remarkable, and to create something just to call something the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival, it's such a
strong,
creating an institution just by the name itself.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
that's it.
This is a very keenly well executed everything. So hats off to Wes Jackson.
Yeah,
and my career definitely blossomed with that too, from shooting at the hip hop festival. I've been documenting that festival for over a decade.
Wow, that's dope.
That's dope.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, well, Rob, thank you, man. We really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you had fun too.
One of the best for sure.
You guys, you say that to all the
nah, we don't.
The
Trust
parties.
me. Nah.
The potty.
But bless you guys. It's great to meet you and talk with you, and I hope to meet you face to face one of these days.
No doubt, man.
Absolutely. We're going to make that happen.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob. Have a good night, brother.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Peace.
Appreciate you guys. Peace.
All right, be good. All right, Meeks. Oh, man.
I wasn't expecting that.
Hey, you know what?
Yo.
We may have been out last week, but we
just
made up like a motherfucker with that one.
Yeah, we just made up for it. Hell yeah.
Hey,
Southern
man, look.
Vanguard, baby.
This is that Smithsonian grade.
Yep.
If you didn't know, twice a week Meeks, twice a week Doe,
Shit.
Southern Vanguard Radio.
Guggenheim grade right now.
Fuck that. We out. Peace.
We out, y'all. Peace.